Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Lufthansa Group, Christian Langer in discussion with Skift's Patrick White.
This is the last time you have me today, I'm sure you're relieved.
Me as well.
So yeah, remind you that Slido, if you've got any questions for Christian, please put them on there, and yeah, we'll get to them at the end. So Christian is actually one of only two people, I think, who has done back-to-back Skift forums in the US and Europe. And obviously we wanted Christian back because he was so great on stage in New York, but you were quite keen to come back, you were telling me backstage, because of something that happened at the Skift speakers dinner.
Yeah,
I'm teeing you up here.
It had nothing to do with the topic, but it was a kind of brilliant moment in my business life when there's a private speakers dinner this evening, and don't want to make you envy, but that's fantastic. So I was in New York at this dinner, and I sat next to an elderly guy, and I talked to him for 2 hours about books, because I'm a book lover, and I love historic books and used books, and I had a business once doing this. And so we talked 2 hours about books, and then he showed me pictures of his private library. And I said, oh, gosh. And I asked him, what do you do for a living? Are you a historian or something? He said, no, I'm an entrepreneur. And I said, okay, what kind of company? You have 41 different companies, but the one you might know, which I founded, is Priceline.com. I said, oh, yeah. And I heard about this. And I said, do you happen to be Jay Walker? And he said, yes, I'm Jay Walker. And this was 2 hours into discussion. I didn't kind of recognize him. So he invited me to his, and we talked for 2 hours more. All the CEOs, everybody was gone. We were sitting there and talking about books. And so he invited me in his private library in Connecticut. And it was there in January, and this was fantastic. It was like 5 hours. We ended up sitting beneath a kind of, from James Bond movie, kind of stuff, and it was brilliant. I touched a piece from Mars with this finger. And, you know, Lufthansa flies everywhere, you know, and we fly way more destinations than any other guy sat on this chair today, but we don't fly to Mars. And so I said, you know, there's nothing ever flew back from Mars to the Earth. And then he explained why he has this piece. And there are only 51 pieces, and I touched with this finger a piece of Mars. So that's why I'm grateful to Skift forever. And I have high expectations for this night's dinner.
I'm not sure we'll be able to raise the bar that high again. But one of the other reasons why we brought you back was because the Lufthansa Innovation Hub is based in Berlin. So I just wondered if you could talk a bit about why Lufthansa itself is based in Frankfurt, am I right? Why would you move to Berlin to do this? What's the benefit of Berlin?
So obviously it's not the weather, but the thing is, Berlin is, for German or even European kind of relations, it's the startup hub and the startup ecosystem. 6 of the 10 best funded German startups are based in Berlin. So you find the right people here, and you find the right spirit here, and that's the reason why we went here. And there's no need to be in Frankfurt for this one. And so yeah, and it paid out. The European startup ecosystem is evolving. So we saw record venture capital running into travel tech mobility startups in Europe this first quarter. It's 540 million. It's still small compared to the US, but for us it's a huge move. And here we are in the middle of all it. And that's the reason why we're here with the Innovation Hub.
I think Tao said before as well, forget your guide, it's only quite a small portion of their staff are actually German. It's a great place to bring people from all of Europe to work here. I mean, is that what you found as well?
True. So if you want to get people from outside, international people, they know Berlin, they love Berlin. If you ask them to come to Frankfurt or Cologne, it's way more difficult. And so it's a good place to be and a good place to do business like our Innovation Hub is doing.
And this is a bit of an awkward subject for me as a Brit. You know, London was always seen as a startup centre of Europe, I guess. Is that fair? But with Brexit still happening, do you see Berlin taking some of that share away and becoming more attractive for people who want to start up a business and have access to the whole of Europe?
You see, I see it more on a European level. So I'm happy with Israel booming in the startup scene. I love London growing. Of course, I love Berlin growing, but we as Europeans, we have to have something against Asia and the US, and so I'm happy with all the 3 hubs evolving, and we are part of it, and that's good enough. And if you have 3 hubs, people have to fly from one to another, and there we go. It's our business, so we love to have 3 hubs.
Yeah, I can see why you like it so much. But was it difficult to convince the board of directors of Lufthansa to do this?
I was not around when they convinced them, but today they love the hub for different reasons. The worst kind of attribute we get is, okay, at least they, for the amount of money we invest there, at least they produce good press coverage. And you know, the Innovation Hub was named from the famous German economic magazine Capital as the best corporate digital innovation or innovation lab in Germany. So this is a huge thing. But this is only, you know, today the Innovation Hub has this very special position, although it's quite small compared to the 130,000 people of Lufthansa Group. But they are inspirational. They connect to the startup ecosystem, so people from startups, they know whom to, you know, approach. The guys in the Innovation Hub, none of them has a Lufthansa contract. They never has. They're all from the outside, venture capitalists, founders. They work for startups, for incubators, so they're really well connected. So they bring up the ecosystem into the group, and other way around, they help startups to connect with the right people in the group. And they create business themselves, so they invent, they produce new products, they start applications, and so it really pays out. It's way beyond only good press coverage.
That's good for you. And Lufthansa's just committed to putting a digital fund in place for you guys. And how important was that to get that amount of money in place?
It's important, and it's important for several reasons. You know, the first thing is when you're in a big corporation, and many of you might know this, you always have this David against Goliath problem. You know, if you have an idea, if somebody in the company has an idea, or you have a startup you find interesting, you want to invest into, then you come up with a business plan. You're totally excited because in 3 years' time we make something like 100 million revenue, and then you go to your business unit. And they say, oh God, we do something like 10 billion revenue in this business unit, so 100 million is nothing. Go and, you know, integrate 3 new A320s. So we have to solve this. We have to protect those ideas. And this is the reason why we set up a different kind of setup for ideas from within or from outside the company, and we call it Lufthansa Digital Fund. And it's a quite huge amount of money where we want to protect those ideas until they are kind of ready to be taken over by a business unit or founded as a separate new business unit.
In the past, do you think companies like Lufthansa and other airlines and other big corporates were guilty of destroying those companies too early? They would take them on too soon and maybe destroy what made them good in the first place. You've got to kind of nurture them, protect them until they're big enough to do it on their own. Yeah,
true enough. And you know, an airline like ours, we are risk averse. We have to be risk averse. You as a passenger love us to be risk averse. So we have to have a separate culture. We have to look at different KPIs. If you want to build a new hangar or buy a new aircraft or something, we all know our business plans. We know which KPI to look into. We know the risk. But we have to find different KPIs, a different way of kind of evaluating those little startups, and have a different culture. Because not all of those ideas, they go to market and kind of go skyrocketing. So this is something we have to differentiate in our company. A risk-averse, traditional, fast-growing business, and on the other hand, how to invest, how to grow ideas or little ventures. And this is something we now can protect with this Lufthansa Digital Fund way better than we could before.
And maybe could you talk about some of the successes you've had since you've started this, since the Innovation Hub has been in place? What things might people here be aware of, or what solutions to problems have you attempted to tackle?
There are many successes and many good ideas on their way. One is our Open API, which opens up the world of Lufthansa to developers, and there are lots of calls on this Open API. That's good. We were one of the first. But one thing maybe you love most and you can use today for your flight back is the airlinecheckins.com, which allows you to check in with every airline in the world. We check you in at the very first moment for free at every airline, not only Lufthansa Airlines, but every airline in the world at your preferred seat. at the very first moment where it's possible. You just give us your booking reference and we check you in. And
is there a cost to the customer?
Nothing. Just nothing. It's just nothing. And so, and we really love this product, and our customers do. And until now, we checked in 196 different airlines, and this is fast growing. So, if you're not registered, just register. Send us your booking reference, and we check you in. We just send you back your boarding pass for the best seat available according to your preferences. We love it. Some of the airlines don't. But
can you name any names?
No, but the thing is,
collaboration is very difficult for big companies to do. They've got their markets kind of set. They look after their kind of area, and they don't want to know. They don't want to talk to a competitor.
True, and everybody's afraid of losing the touch point to the customer. And the check-in is a very good kind of touch point because it's something around 24 hours before the flight. So this is why we love the service, and our customers do as well. So and funny enough, yesterday I got the latest statistic because I thought that you might ask this question. And amongst the top checked-in airlines with airline check-ins is not any of our own airlines. So it's a third-party airline, which is used most by our customers. So it's interesting.
But presumably you're not doing it out of the goodness of your hearts. You get something back from it. What do you get back? Data? What do you benefit from?
We get data, of course, but we don't get data on get data on a personal level. But the very strict European data protection rights, and we fully support them. But what we get is good statistics. So what are the preferences of customers? So where do they love to seat most in an airplane? Because people tell us a preference. So we get on average a good idea how seat mapping could look like. We get.
What can you do with that? Is there anything? Could you apply that to plane layout? Is that something you do, or how could you do?
No, for example, we, as you know, we have our legacy operators, but we as well have our point-to-point carriers in the Eurowings, and at Eurowings we charge for different seats, and this gives us a good idea how people might be willing to pay for that. We don't do this, but it could give us a good idea. So, but at least it's like this is a typical Innovation Hub project. The guy thought this might be attractive for customers, and so we started it. And we started it, to be honest, with 30,000 euros. And now it's a bit more, but we started it by the guys from the Innovation Hub doing it themselves. There was nothing, no automation, nothing behind this, just to get it going, just to see how it's going. Try this in corporate Lufthansa, very difficult. But they just sat there in the evening at night checking in like mad. And then they thought and saw that customers really loved it. And then we did the part in the back end, and we automated it, and we put our call centers into this, so that get really a professional product done. But they started it because they were just curious if customers love it. And now we can think about how we grow it, what to do with it. But it was just about curiosity, and this is why we love our Innovation Hub.
So at some point you could either sell that, or you could bring it in-house, or you could do
whatever.
Yeah. And are there any other projects of a similar kind of user-friendly or that kind of thing, where customers will be able to see the benefits straight away? Is there anything else you're working on in that respect?
We're working on several different things when it comes to loyalty, for example. So we have a huge loyalty program, as you know, but we firmly believe into payment, loyalty, and ID kind of being combined as ones in the future. So today it's separated. You have your ID somewhere. Many use their Facebook or Google ID. You have your payment scheme with PayPal or your credit cards, whatever. And then you are a member of some loyalty programs. And we believe that this will merge someday. And someday it will become one. And we are quite well set up with Lufthansa, as we have AirPlus and we have Miles & More. We are a shareholder of Verimi, which is a European identity initiative. So, and now we are about to combine this into one, and this is something the Innovation Hub is.
What would that look like?
Next year, same place, I tell you.
Okay, that's a promise. Okay, great. Now, the title of the session is the new airline distribution landscape, and I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about the distribution surcharge you guys put on GDS bookings, and others followed you. What was the thinking behind that? And you got a fair bit of criticism for it, but has it worked out, would you say?
It worked out. We did it in September 2015, I guess. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, GDSs are 50 years old. And they had this very IT technocratic approach. And we want to have a customer-focused, flexible approach. And this was not, possible by, still kind of feeding GDSs. And it was not about the 16 euros or something we charge, but it was about we want to get away from this technocentric approach, and we want to change it. And this is why we strongly supported IATA's NDC activities, and we just now announced that we have a best price, which is only available in Europe for European routes from all our 4 hubs, if you use direct booking on our websites or if you use one of the NDC channels. So not only that we penalize if you use GDSs, but now we offer our customers, if you go to our website direct, we offer you a whole bunch of different prices and fares. So
is that okay with regulations and that kind of thing? Can you offer different prices?
I think so. They have not called yet. So
okay.
But the thing is, we want to serve our customers on a very personal, individual, personalized way. And this is simply not possible if you have somebody with this technology sitting between us and them.
So you're not trying to cut, you're not saying it's cutting the cost, because GDSs are presumably expensive to run, to pay. It's not about the cost, you're saying, it's about the...
We have to invest a lot of money into setting up services to really then being able to serve you as a customer, to create hyper-personalized services. So what we do is we take the money we save maybe with the GDSs, and today we do 1/3 of our bookings on direct or direct channels on our .com platforms, and we refocus it to create really customer-centric, personalized offers. And I think it's a better way than to feed 50 euro technology with the same money.
But are you not worried that customers now are in an age where privacy is becoming a really big thing, and people are worried about what happens to their data more and more aware, like what's happened at Facebook and with GDPR? Are you not worried that customers, there's going to be a backlash against personalization? We don't want personalization because it means we have to give up so much of our privacy. Does that worry you at all?
It doesn't worry us, but of course we take it into account. But the thing is, our customers, they trust us with their lives every day when they enter our planes. And we are happy to be based in Europe and to have those very strict European data protection rights. So it's not new to us to obey them. It's not new to us. So as much as people trust us when they enter one of our planes, we hope they trust us when it comes to kind of us using their data for giving them more personalized services, because we really care about data protection as much as we do when it comes to other parts of our business. And it's the only way that you can really create digital business, because if people don't trust you, it's impossible to create something personalized. So that's the reason why we are quite optimistic with that one.
Okay. And I wanted to get your view on a problem that I see in the airline industry. When I board a plane, the boarding of a plane is the huge pinch point.
Every time.
And you queue up, you go through, you check your passport, you have to get your ticket, your phone out, check in, and you go in and board the plane. And there's people with wheelie bags, there's people with coats. It's like a massive log jam. And that's not only annoying for me, it's probably annoying for you as an airline trying to get the plane turned around. Is there any kind of solution to that?
It's like there are tons of PhD theses around this topic. So how to optimize boarding of an aircraft. What we do is we do several things. The one is we now do large experiments with biometrics. So you don't have to produce all the stuff, your passport and your... We did something in Los Angeles airport, and it went very well. Customers loved it.
As in facial recognition?
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah. So just there, you get identified, and then you go into the plane. So that's the one thing. The second thing is, where we really work upon, is how can we separate you from your luggage? So because the hassle starts when everybody tries to fix the stuff into the overhead bin. So we do different things. The one is we have, with Lufthansa Technik, we invented a kind of mid-cabin overhead bins, so that we have simply more space in the planes. It was just announced at the aircraft interiors. So we have physical solutions, but as well we think about we have Lufthansa Cargo, so we are able to bring things from A to B. Or we preload your hand luggage into the overhead bins, your carry-ons, so that people can just flow into the aircraft. So many different aspects.
Sounds like a solution is very close. I'm really
It's
hopeful.
not, we thought for decades that we are close.
Don't say that.
It's always, but this time we will solve it. I don't know. But the best idea is to buy a business class ticket, then you're allowed to enter first, and this always works out.
Yeah, I need a pay rise for that. Okay, let's. I'm going to go with the questions now, but I'm going to take one that is at the bottom from Oscar at Dubai Tourism about the Winding Tree partnership. You one of the few. You've quite an early adopter in seeing the benefits of blockchain. Could you talk a bit about why you decided to partner with Winding Tree? I know it's not quite. You haven't invested in them. It's a kind of a. What is an investment in Winding Tree?
It's a
coin
partnership with money.
Yeah. How do you see blockchain working out? Is it really something that we should be aware of, or is it something that's going to happen in 10, 20, 30 years' time?
This is, there are 3 topics at every conference. It's drones, artificial intelligence, blockchain. You can't.
I've only done one of them. That's quite good.
Yeah, thank you. That's good. The thing is, when it, every second day, consultant shows up and wants to talk about blockchain with you.
I get a lot of emails about blockchain.
Yeah, there you go. And the most ideas which I heard about blockchain is where I sit there and after a while I say, that's just a distributed database. So this technology is around for 20 years. So please come up with an idea which is more than distributed database. Winding Tree, those guys, they really have a good idea. And this, again, is the distribution part. So that's the reason why we said, okay, let's partner. We are the first ones, the first airline who put money into this and support you. And I'm really happy about how it works out until now, and we are happy to see more of that. But as well, we see good blockchain applications when it comes to tracking your components, part of the aircraft, back to birth documentation, all that stuff. But I really suffer from all this distributed database ideas. It's really
okay. Well, we'll move swiftly along.
Okay.
Can you give an example of an innovation that came out of the Lufthansa Innovation Hub that is being used by the airline today, apart from airline check-ins?
Yeah, let's take the Open API, for example. It's used by the airline today. Let's take our way to ensure your personal belongings when you go on a flight with Eurowings. So we offer you a very kind of tailor-made insurance right in the moment when you're about to fly, because then I took the very valuable camera or I took my laptop. So it's an offer which is on the website of Eurowings, and it was created by the Innovation Hub. And just 2 examples, many more. It's really a good place to be.
Let's leave it there then. Thank you very much.
And the thing is, we created a very, I love it very much, a newsletter deep diving into the startup scene of travel tech and mobility at the Innovation Hub. And we try to compete with the Skift newsletter. And when we are there, I come back.
There you
go.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Christian.
very much for having me.